Buying a property at an auction. We all know properties that come on the market, on the MLS. Anybody can find, everybody can find. And these properties are heavily competed on, meaning all the buyers see these properties and bid on it. Hi, I'm Amol Heda. Let me walk you through how you buy a property in an auction. So, we all are now facing a huge inventory crisis on how to buy a property. And so, anywhere and everywhere that we can lay our hands on a property, we will. And everybody thinks that, oh, what if I buy a property at an auction? I have done that myself, for myself, at a different type of auction, but I have done that and I have helped others also buy properties in auction. So, here is how to look at those. So let me first explain the types of auctions. Number one is the court step auction, where a property is auctioned at court, taken over by the government or we'll say by the county or whoever is the owner or a lender, and it goes to the court steps. It gets advertised, and these days that portion has also been modernized. A company like 10x just takes, or auction.com just takes those properties from the court, advertises on their platform, and they facilitate the whole transaction. So that's one way of getting it. The second part where I participated in an auction was like there would be a public tent and an auction company gets that property in their portfolio, and they literally advertise it to hundreds of thousands of people, and we ourselves went to an auction tent and bid on a property amongst several hundred thousand of others and got the property. And the third way to get a property in auction is, these days, even on the MLS, they provide an auction format. Meaning, you can bid, multiple people can bid at the same time and keep bidding themselves, each other out until the bidding stops. And that's how the property gets in auction. So essentially, an auction format is where there is an open bidding war and you compete against the others just on price until you win. That's an auction format. So let me give you my experience. In 2009, when the market had just started dropping, I started seeing these widely advertised private company auctions where they would just get a property from the bank and they would say, okay, we'll sell it for whatever and we'll give you the money. And that auction, they used to conduct those in tents out there in huge fairgrounds kinds of locations. And I just told my wife, I said, you know what? This is another experience. Let's just jump on it and go. I dragged her with me to Sacramento and I said, okay, let's just witness. And we saw a frenzy going on there. I mean, they would advertise the property, they would throw it at an ultra big price, and then everybody would clamor to get that, and they would beat the price up and they would get that going. Not to mention the kind of corrosive noise that you would see on these places. So we could not stand it for more than an hour. We just bailed out of it, came back home. In a couple of weeks, I see another auction being announced. This time it was for Bay Area properties near us and in a location called Antioch, which I was familiar with. So we went to that auction and there was one property in Antioch that was listed for just 55 or 80,000. I don't remember which one of those two numbers is exact, but somewhere around that. And that property was previously sold for $525,000. So when I saw that, I was amazed. I didn't know what should I do. And so I said, okay, I'm going to go attend this auction. And I dragged my wife again because, of course, if I cannot have her buy in, I'm not going to be able to buy the property. I took her with me. And we started bidding at that 80,000 number. I think it was listed at 55 and the first bid that we did was about 80. And we started getting into it. And we kept on doing the outbid business until our offer was at 155,000. Now remember, this is not a court-step auction. This is an auction company taking possessions in their control and liquidating it and giving the proceeds to the sellers. So we bid 155 and after that the entire tent fell silent. And I said, what did I do? Did I do a mistake? And the auctioneer announces, Amol Heda, you're the winner. And here I was holding the property. My wife was shocked that we got the property. I took my computer, went back into the back room where I could sit and calmly do some analysis out from the craziness and noise going on in that tent. And we went and looked at the property. To me, it fit some of the fundamental characteristics. It was last sold from 525 to 360 and from 360 I was getting it at 155. I said, okay, I'm going to buy it. We said yes. We went and gave a $5,000 deposit. Just guess what happens. Next day, my wife calls the previous agent on the property and says, hey, what is going on with this property? And he says, and he started laughing at her. Did you guys buy that property? It wasn't selling. And she says, yes. And he says, oh, it's very badly damaged. So I don't know what you want to do with it. If you want to go see, go see. Sure enough, weekend rolls in. We get into the property and we saw a lot of trash, damage, kitchen busted, toilet seats taken away, the back door broken, the front side of the house boarded. And then my wife says, well, this doesn't seem that bad. And I was happy that, because I was fearing the worst. I was thinking that she'll look at the property in a bloody state and she's not going to want to go for it. And I was finding the price to be very attractive. And so when we walked in and she said, oh, this is fine. I said, perfect. We walked out. But after coming back, by the way, these auction companies, they allow you to get a loan on the property also. And so we had a financing contingency on it. If you went to the court step auction, there is no loan. So court step auctions behave slightly differently. So I went there and we had a financing contingency and there was a chase lender right there and I talked to her and we got this deal together, walked out. In 2 weeks' time, the appraisal comes and it didn't appraise. The moment it didn't appraise, I went back to the auction company and said, guys, keep our deposit. We are going away. We don't want this property. And they said, well, why? And I said, there are 731 properties just now live in Antioch that are not selling. And so we don't want it. Guess what? The auction company accepted the appraised price and we continued the deal. I borrowed on something called as a 203 rehab loan, which I paid extra for appraisal, extra for the appraiser's visits and extra interest rate because I was doing a completely torn down, kind of damaged property, vandalized property. And so I did all that. And then we got this property back in contract. I got a contractor who did a turnkey job and we got it completely done for $30,000. So $130,000 and $33,000 for repairs. The property is recorded at $133,000 in the county. It was rented out for $1,450. So that's the story. But I wanted to give you these details because that's my experience with an auction. So now with a court step auction, here is what happens. You have to be prepared completely for financing. You literally have to go with a cashier's check for the entire amount. You cannot see the property because typically the property is in distress, the sellers are occupying it, and the court has to literally get the property vacated from the current occupant. So we have no idea what is going on with it. So remember, A, you need full cash. B, you typically will have little to no estimate of how much work it is going to take to fix the property. And number 3, when you inherit the property, you will need to do all the work, get it ready and get it to the market. So unless there is enough amount of margin to absorb these shocks, that deal is in the water. So you need a very experienced agent to back you up and be on your side when you are dealing with this murky situation. Having had the experiences, I can be on your side and get you there. So if you want to prepare for getting a property in auction, and I mark my words, I'm calling it property because typically people don't buy their primary home in auction. They will be living in a primary home and they will buy this property in auction for mostly investment purposes. Sometimes a flip, sometimes it becomes an investment property. Do you think this helps? Like it, subscribe, and share with your friends. And if you have any questions, I'm here, happy to answer. Thanks for watching. Bye.